तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम् भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम् भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम् भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
गौरीनन्दन हे जगवन्दन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
पाशाङ्कुशधर विघ्नविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
बुद्धिप्रदायक पापविनाशा।
सिद्धिविनायक पाहि गजानन।
शिव 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 शिरडी पुरीश्वर शंभो शंकर साम शिवो। शिरडिपुरीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर साम्ब शिवो भवहर पुरहर पुटपर्तीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर सदा शिवो भवहर पुरहर पुटपर्तीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर सदा शिवो शिव 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 शिरडिपुरीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर साम्ब शिवो कैलासाचल बाल शिवा काळकूटधर बाल शिवा केळीलाल सबाल शिवा लीला तांडव बाल शिवा केळीलाल सबाल शिवा लीला तांडव बाल शिवा शिव 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 शिरडिपुरीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर साम्ब शिवो भवहर पुरहर पुटपर्तीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर सदा शिवो शिव 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 शिरडिपुरीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर साम्ब शिवो कैलासाचल बाल शिवा काळकूटधर बाल शिवा केळीलाल सबाल शिवा लीला तांडव बाल शिवा केळीलाल सबाल शिवा लीला तांडव बाल शिवा शिव 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 शिरडिपुरीश्वर शम्भो शङ्कर साम्ब शिवो
जय मा दया करो साई करो साई जय जननी जगजननी साई
मधुर मोहना।
नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। शिवराजा शिवराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। शिव शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शिव शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शंकर शिव नटराजा। शंकर शिव नटराजा। शंकर शिव नटराजा। नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नमः पार्वती पतये हर। पार्वती पतये हर। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर। पार्वती पतये हर। हर 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 महादेवा। हर 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 महादेवा। ओम हर 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 महादेवा। हर 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 महादेवा। नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। शिवराजा शिवराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। शिवराजा शिवराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। शिव शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शिव शिव नमो हर हर नमो। शंकर शिव नटराजा। शंकर शिव नटराजा। नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। नमः पार्वती पतये हर। पार्वती पतये हर। हर 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 महादेवा। हर 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 महादेवा। ओम हर 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 महादेवा। हर 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 महादेवा। नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना। रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना। रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना। रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना। दीनावना करुण कौसल्यतनया कमलानयना कौसल्यतनया कमलानयना कौसल्यतनया कमलानयना कौसल्यतनया मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना रामा राघवा राजीवलोचना मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना दीनावना करुणामया दीनावना करुणामया कमलनयना कौसल्यतनया कमलनयना कौसल्यतनया कमलनयना कौसल्यतनया कमलनयना कौसल्यतनया मैथिलीपते रघुनन्दना
हे इंदुशेखरा राजा शिवराजा शंकरा हे इंदुशेखरा राजा शिवराजा शंकरा इंदुशेखरा शंभो शिवराजा शंकरा हे इंदुशेखरा शंभो शिवराजा शंकरा हे हर हर शिव शिव पिनाक वैभव राजा शंकरा हे हर हर शिव शिव पिनाक वैभव राजा शंकरा शिवराजा शंकरा शिवराजा शंकरा हे इंदुशेखरा राजा शिवराजा शंकरा हे इंदुशेखरा शंभो शिवराजा शंकरा हे हर हर शिव शिव पिनाक वैभव राजा शंकरा शिवराजा शंकरा शिवराजा शंकरा इंदुशेखरा राजा शिवराजा शंकरा
श्रीनिवासा वेंकटेशा श्रीनिवासा वेंकटेशा श्रितजन परिपाला सा
If somebody thinks I'll acquire all the knowledge there is, that is as being so simple-minded as somebody today says, I'll get all the knowledge there is on the internet. Nevertheless, we are interested in that knowledge which will help us in attaining our desired object. And what is our desired object? Divine love for God. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate. Arjun, there is nothing as pure in this world as true divine knowledge. The Mundaka Upanishad states, Dhanur grihitva upanishadam mahastram sharam hyupasa nishitam sandhita ayamya tadbhavikatena chetasa laksham brahma saumya. It says, take the bow of the Upanishads, the scriptures. On it, place the arrow of bhakti. Let the edge, the dhar of it be of bhav, loving divine sentiments. With this contraption, go to find the supreme Paratpar Tattva, the ultimate entity. In other words, you need knowledge and you also need devotion. There are three paths to the supreme realization, as you all are probably aware. The path of karma, the path of jnana, and the path of bhakti. In the path of karma dharma, karma kand, the popular darshan or scripture is the Karma Mimamsa Darshan by Maharshi Bharadwaj and the Dharma Mimamsa Darshan or Purva Mimamsa Darshan by Maharshi Jaimini. In the path of Jnana, there are two darshans, the Vedanta Darshan by Ved Vyas and the Siddhanta Darshan also by Ved Vyas. Unfortunately, the Siddhanta Darshan is not available today. And in the path of Bhakti, we have the Angirasya Madhya Darshan, which is so esoteric and difficult that it is inaccessible to the people. The second is the Shandilya Bhakti Darshan, which is a little simpler but still not sweet enough and graspable. And the third is the Narad Bhakti Darshan. So from this scripture, we shall derive divine knowledge. There is a story in the Puranas. There is one Maharshi Bharadwaj. He once started reading the Vedic scriptures. And he felt that 100 years was not enough. So he prayed for Indra, and when Devraj Indra appeared, Bharadwaj requested that please increase my lifespan by another 100 years. So Indra bestowed his boon. But then another 100 years also did not suffice to complete his Vedic studies. So he requested another time, and yet another time, and yet another time. Even after 500 years, he didn't feel he had a mastery of the Vedas. So he requested for one more boon. And this time, Indra came in front of him. And he took 3 fistfuls. And he threw them like this, and there were 3 mountains. So Bharadwaj said, what is he trying to tell me? that my knowledge of the Vedas is like 3 mountains? The Indra took 3 fistfuls from that and gave them to him and said, the knowledge of the Vedas that you have is equal to these 3 fistfuls. God is infinite and His knowledge is also infinite. If somebody thinks I'll acquire all the knowledge there is, that is as being so simple-minded as somebody today says, I'll get all the knowledge there is on the internet. Now you realize that knowledge is infinite. So similarly, God's divine internet, His infinite knowledge has no beginning and no end. Nevertheless, we are interested in that knowledge which will help us in attaining our desired object. And what is our desired object? Divine love for God. That is what we are interested in. Once, Naradji was in Vrindavan, and there he found a gopi sitting in meditation. So Narad thought, what does the gopi meditate upon? I've heard of Niranjan Gyan. I've also heard of Surandran Dhyan. But what is the dhyan of the gopi? So Narad sat down besides. After an hour, when the gopi opened her eyes, Narad said, Deviji, can you please satisfy my curiosity? What were you meditating upon? The gopi said, Naradji, forget it. No, please. No, forget it. Narad said, now I'm so curious. You're not telling me my curiosity is increased further. You have to tell me. The gopi said, I was trying to take my mind away from Sri Krishna. She's sitting and trying to yank her mind away from God. Narad said, what? Everybody tries to draw the mind away from the world and onto God. You're doing the reverse. The gopi said what to do. His form is so embedded in my mind. Whatever I do, he lands up there. If I am churning the butter, it seems that he's coming and dropping the pots. If I am cleaning the floor, it seems he's running on it. If I am putting the children to sleep, it seems like he's waking them up. Now I understand that it is not him, it's my mind playing tricks. The mind has got so unified with him that his form comes everywhere. That is why I was striving so hard to take my mind away from him, but I was not succeeding. The Narad was extremely impressed. He said, Pratyarhitya munikshanam vishayato yasmin manodhitsati balasau vishayeshu sajjati manah pratyaharanti tata. Big yogis in their meditation strive that somehow or the other they should withdraw the mind from the world and attach it at the feet of God, and they don't succeed. And look at this gopi. She is trying the reverse sadhana and not succeeding. That is the power of bhakti. So Narad was so impressed. This bhakti, its glories must be propagated, and everybody must receive the gift of bhakti. So he says, At bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmaha. Now I am going to expound on this topic of bhakti. Naradji has put the philosophy we need to know in these 84 aphorisms. We now have the essence of the Vedas in regard to how to attain divine love in 84 short sutras. Naradji is explaining the external nature of bhakti first. There is an external form and there is an inner core. So what is the external form of bhakti? Extreme love for God. That is what you see in the lives of the saints. Let me give you the example of one saint, Sant Tukaram. Sant Tukaram used to live in Maharashtra, Pandharpur, with his wife. And he did have a little business, but he would not succeed in running it properly because he would spend all his time in his devotion. So one day the wife got annoyed and she said, "Look, what is this? There is nothing at home." She took her jewelry and gave them to him. "Sell it and get some provisions for the house." Tukaram went, he sold the jewelry, he got the provisions. On the way he found some beggars. So the beggars requested him for help. He said, "If you chant the names of God, I will give them to you." So they all started chanting Rukmani Vitthal. He distributed all the provisions. And when he reached home, he said, "I don't have anything." The wife got extremely annoyed. Next day, she decided, "I will go and work." So she dressed up to go out to work. Tukaram said, "Where are you going?" She said that "I am going to work." Tukaram said, "No, I will go and find a job. This is not appropriate, you stay here." Now Tukaram went out. Wherever he would ask, "Give me a job," they would say he was famous. They would say, "Look, whatever you want, you ask, we'll give it to you. But you can't work for us." Tukaram's principle was he would not take anything without giving in return. So it was not acceptable. He still kept looking for a job. Now when he did not get a job, he went off to the next village where he thought people don't know him. So finally one farmer agreed. So he didn't know who this guy is. The farmer said, "All right, I'll give you a job." Tukaram said, "I really need some immediate provisions. Can you help?" The farmer gave him some provisions. He passed them on to his wife. And his job was to sit in the field and ensure that no birds eat the crop. So he would sit there and he would start chanting Rukmani Vitthal. And when the birds would come, he would see God inside the birds. He said, "Ram ji ki chidiya, Ram ji ka khet. Khao chidiya bhar bhar pet." So 2 months later, the farmer came to check his crop and he found that it's all destroyed. He got extremely annoyed at Tukaram. He said, "Look, you have caused me damage for 2,000 rupees. You give me the money back." Tukaram said, "If I had money, I would not be working here. In that case, you will need to be punished by the king. Let me take you to the king." Tukaram said, "Look, don't take me to the king. You give me the punishment." Because the king was Chhatrapati Shivaji. And Shivaji was a disciple of Tukaram. So if he takes him there, then there's a big problem. Because the king will be extremely annoyed. My guru is being brought here for punishment. So Tukaram said, "You give me whatever punishment." So this man said, "What punishment can I give? You have destroyed all my crop. You give me the 2,000 rupees. Tukaram said, "Hey Pandurang, I don't have 2,000 rupees. This person said, "You are saying, hey Pandurang, as if you are Tukaram. Are you trying to copy Tukaram?" He said, "I'm not trying to copy Tukaram, I am Tukaram." "Really? Oh my God, you have been serving me here? I am so sorry." He fell at his feet and he said, "Look, I apologize. Let me do one thing. I have got the sugar cane out here. I will take this sugar cane and give it to you." So he gave him a cartload of sugar cane and said, "You take this, you can sell it off And with the help of this, you can get your provisions. The Tukaram thought he has got a cartload of sugarcane now. So he went off with that cartload, and on the way, he met some children. They saw him and they started chanting Pandurang Vitthal Dev. So he was delighted. He gave each of them one sugarcane. Finally, he had one sugarcane left. So when he went back home, he offered it to his wife. This is all I've got. The wife got so annoyed, she lifted it and smashed it on his head. It broke into two. So Tukaram was not disturbed. He said, we had to split it in half in any case. You take half and I will take half. And then he went into his puja room. And he said, "Oh Vitthal Dev, you are so kind. You have taken complete care of me. You have ensured that I will never get attached to the world by giving me such a wife." So Tukaram is a God-intoxicated saint. That kind of intoxication. And Narad ji is saying such immense love is bhakti. Other saints were asked, what is the nature of bhakti? Tulsidas was asked. So he said, Kamihi nari pyari jimi, lobhi priya jimi dham, timi raghunath nirantara, priya lagahu mohi ram. He says, like a greedy man loves wealth, he's always hankering for it. There is the story of one Seth ji. He had his shop, and the most blissful part of the day would be in the evening when he would count his notes. So after he would close the shop, he would sit and count. One day he was going on and counting, one was over, second, third time. His wife said that, come on, it's time for dinner. She invited him 3-4 times, he did not come. So finally she got so frustrated, she took the sweet dish, the kheer, 1 spoon and put it in his mouth, that this will wake him up. But his mind was elsewhere, and he thought that, I have eaten the sweet, that means the meal is over. So he said, all right, now I need to wash my hands, my meal is over. The Tulsidas ji says, just like a greedy man yearns for wealth, and a young boy yearns for a young girl. There is the story that one woman, her beloved was coming from out of station. So this girl was running to meet her beloved. At the same time, Akbar was touring his kingdom for an inspection. So being a Mohammedan, he used to say the namaz 5 times. And in the namaz, they spread the sheet and then they sit on it and say the namaz. So Akbar had spread his sheet. They consider it sacred. They consider it a representation of Allah. And he was saying the namaz when this woman was running to meet her beloved. She did not realize she placed her feet on the sheet, but Akbar saw it. So Akbar said to Birbal, this woman should be brought to my court. Now the next day, the woman was brought to court. Akbar said, you ran on my namaz sheet? The woman said, absolutely not. Badshah Salamat, I am telling you, you ran. No, I did not. Akbar said, then am I mistaken? I very clearly saw you ran. The woman said, I have no recollection of it. So the woman said that, O great king, you were worshipping the Supreme Lord. And yet you had recollection on who is stepping on my sheet. I was running after a worldly beloved, and I was totally oblivious of what had happened. Don't you even have that much of absorption in your divine beloved as I have got in my material beloved? So Tulsidas says, that kind of complete absorption, that is bhakti.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare, Swami Sathya Sai Hare, Bhaktagana Samrakshaka, Bhaktagana Samrakshaka, Bhakti Maheshwara, Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Shivagana Shrikara, Sarva Pranapati, Swami Sarva Pranapati, Ashrita Kalpaladika, Ashrita Kalpaladika, Avarthandava, Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Pita Gurudevam Mariyantayunire, Swami Mariyantayunire, Nada Brahma Jagannatha, Nada Brahma Jagannatha, Nagendra Shayana, Om Jai Jagadish Hare. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।